Oh, hey Pisces, it's MJ from Ultra Love. How are you? I'm just slowly getting through these monthly readings. I've done some yearly readings for 2020. I usually put them all in a playlist once I finish the series. I do Ophiuchus. I offer online coaching, private intuitive tarot. It's always my intention to offer divine guidance and loving clarity. This is a paradigm shift community, so people undergoing spiritual awakening and transformation. I also am coming to complete the 4 Be the Change online courses, which you can have a look at altalove.com. You can also book sessions from Ultra Love. All the information is in the description, my lovers, so feel free to check it out. All right, Pisces, let's see what's going on for you guys. January 2020. First card off the gate is the Sun card in the upright. So this is a benevolent. This is a benevolent kind of energy for sure. I'm having this feeling of like, whoa, like, because then there's the seven of cups in the reverse with the Magician in the reverse. So it feels like there might be almost this uptake of opportunities that come your way that feel as though they're throwing you off your balance. That's what that feels like. Like the sun's starting to shine down, and suddenly all these things are starting to make manifest, and you're like, whoa, just fucking doodles. And that some of you might be a bit like, I didn't fucking manifest that shit. I didn't. Hence the, I don't get a bad feeling about the Magician in the reverse. Often it can be interpreted like an abuse of power. This feels more like a knock. Like you're the Magician, but there's stuff coming up that you're like, whoa, holy shit balls. Yeah, there's definitely an energy of like being thrown off, because there's the 2 of Pentacles, and then we have the Queen of the Queen of Pentacles here as well. So and then there's another like angle to the Magician, because then the Magician in the reverse is on top of a Moon card with Ace of Swords in the reverse. So another angle here is that there might be something that comes along that is deceptive. Because then there's the 4 of Swords. So there seems to be a bit of a, ooh, I don't know, and then you have to lay it to rest and rebalance yourself. But there's no, it's not a person, it doesn't feel. It feels like just some underlying belief system that isn't fully aligned in your power. Because then there's this Death card. It's in the reverse though, so it feels to me like it's not so bad. It's not necessarily like somebody dying. It's not to do with your personal health. It's in the reverse because it's like yet another, almost a false start, but anchored in a false perception. So that's why it's feeling out of balance, or that's why it's feeling non-integrated or not fully in your power, is that it's a deceptive tactic of the mind. It's a thought form. It's a thought form that you want to lay to rest, to rebalance yourself, and then let it die, basically. Let this thought form because there's the Sun in the Hermit card. There's actually a lot of arcana. There's the Death, the Moon, Magician, Sun, and Hermit. There's a lot of arcana here. So January 2020, major arcana, it feels to me like there's some big stuff coming in with the Sun card, and then the 7 of Cups. So there are some major opportunities that are starting to flow into your reality. The little hiccup around the falling off balance, or the Moon card of being the deception card, The reason it feels like smaller is that I feel this is something you know, because the Hermit card is here, so you know how to deal with it. You know how to go within and uproot that false layer, that false belief. The Ace of Swords in the reverse somehow is all connected to the Magician in reverse and the Moon card. It's just a false perception that wants to be laid to rest, because then it's also supported by the Four of Swords, which is like that laying to rest energy. So I'm looping now into like a broader storyline. This does feel, Pisces, like an energy that you're anchoring, this mother love, this mega nurturing, at the same time safe, protected, stable, a plentiful energy, right? The Queen of Pentacles, in your power, lots of resources. So I'm connecting in that I feel like weird, eh? But like weird, eh? I'm Canadian, eh? I feel like this is now signaling to me that this is about your belief system, right? So the disconnect and or that which throws you off balance has to do with a false belief that this is not you, that you're not this beautiful benevolent matriarch. So there's some like the Seven of Cups here, it feels a bit like so much that going on out there, and like, but there again there's this subtle pattern, I guess, this false belief that you don't have the plenty is outside of you. So I feel like through this month you anchor that, or rather you become aware of it as an energy form, as a thought form. You suddenly become aware of it, and then you see it, and then you lay it to rest. Rebalance, maybe have to go through a little ego death there, and then with the Hermit energy, which again I feel you're anchored in that, you're aware of that, and so it's not like this is some new big news. You're just like, oh yeah, that bugger, right? Okay. And then you go within, you uproot the false belief, you howl with the Moon rather than be deceived by it, lay it to rest, find your balance, possibly have that final ego death, and then you're here, and then you're like, yeah, this is the truth of me. I am this abundant, loving, this is like just the ever-present mother nurturer, essentially. So this is, I feel, where you're headed in the month of January. The sun shining on the reading really makes me feel like it is fully supported. And being it now December, Pisces, if you are watching or reading or hearing this now, this can be stuff that starts coming up in the here now, and that in January you're hitting your stride. You're starting to get into this pentacle. It's like I get this feeling of like being in command of the ship. So moving from this like everything's chaotic or everything is out of control or blah blah blue blue, finally, and then seeing that as a thought form, rooting it out, rebalancing yourself from that point of power, letting any old energy die out, and then going over there to sit in your throne, letting the sun just transform all this energy for you, basically knowing that it's all sorted, that you don't need to get your hands dirty doing any of this, that you can just sit in the Queen of Pentacles energy. As we know, often we have to go through these cycles a few times before we finally anchor it, before we finally go, oh no, that is me. I'm hearing the sense of like, be the CEO. You're becoming the director. You're becoming the commander of your own ship, kind of thing. For some of you, I'm just aware that I think this ship is also commanding other energy. So that's what you're having to, navigate around, is maybe dealing with certain people, or just letting the giving of power, reining some of that in. And then laying to rest any thought form that you find, laying to rest the thought form that disempowers your ability to be that Queen of Pentacles. And with the Death in reverse and the Sun, it just feels like there's one more like ego death, one more kind of false layer that needs to be uprooted to get into that balanced state and then go sit pretty on your Queen of Pentacles throne. Everything you need is wanting to be manifest. So there's that Harmony card. I'll give him a shuffle because that came up in the last reading. So we'll double check. Actually, we'll put it back in there. So I do love this card, but I'm not sure if I shuffled after the Aquarius. So we'll see if it wants to come out again. So let's get a little bit more advice for the Pisces reading. Another little layer is also just the really nice, the Sun card coming in, like bearing in mind this is the January, right? So it's like the really nice thing about this Sun card being there is that I feel like you have a really, really a positive and happy holiday season, which in efficacy, pretty much this Sun card is what gives you the light, and I think it gives you the energetic momentum to face down this sort of like final piece of disempowered construct, like that you can't be the Magician, or that you can't be the Queen of Pentacles, or that you have to wait for some external opportunity to line up, and that's deceiving you. That's a piece of the deception wants to be laid to rest. You have and know the balance within and are well equipped to undergo another death process. The Queen of Pentacles is the energy that's shining for you. Yeah, there's some heavy, deep past life energy that it's schizophrenia card. It's a pull, it's a weight, it's like, it's very real. The energy, it feels very real to stay in that. But it is past life connected. There's a weight to the, I want to say the feeling of the reality of it is very real because it's past life, and it feels to me it's like going over and 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 over again. So give yourself some credit here and then trust. The trust card just popped out. So there's some really relevant advice here, Pisces. So okay, the trust card is like the major thing, like trust that you're gonna rise above it, you're gonna see through it. Another element in here is like you have to drop the fighting and the compromising. So if this is resonating with you and there's any inner conflict going on, be aware of that. And if there's any people, places, or things in your environment that make you somehow feel like you have to compromise your freedom or compromise your truth or compromise your creativity, drop it. It's not, you can't move forward with these kind of energies in pure trust and pure faith if you're compromising a part of your integrity. And then the ripeness card, which I fucking love that card. So the ripeness card is a 9. And this is pretty relevant, I would say, to that kind of ace in reverse, that Ace of Swords in reverse energy of that old disempowered thought form energy that's wanting to come up. It wants to be replaced by this, like, again, this juicy ripeness. This is funny. Again, based on the multitudinous of this, so these look like plums to me, don't they? And there's quite a few on the tree. I feel like for some of you, it's not just you coming into ripeness, but it's a community that you work in. It's a community you work in, a tree of a community that you're growing. That it's not just you, that you're ripening. You are ripening the wisdom of other plums that are wanting to be shown how to be juicy or something like that. And yet, so there's no grandiosity about this, okay? It's just your being. It's just your nature. So any of the negativity, any of the things that pull at you in a disempowered, like, kind of way, those are the past life tugs that are kind of keeping you in that fight flight feeling. And with it just being the ace, there's that one ace, right? Ace is one. And so I'm like, it's like one thought form that pulls you off center. And the moment you see that with this moon card here, the moment you see what that is, you'll be able to find balance. You'll be able to let that go. You'll be able to die to that thought form. It has to do with fighting. It has to do with past life energy. It's something that I would say, if you're aware enough, it's something that pulls you apart. So it's like putting your feet on the ground, and it's like, I don't know, the Queen of Pentacles, it just feels so lovely and so nurturing. And the ripeness card, there's so much juice that wants to flow. And then the ordinariness with the number 8 there, I'm like, it's all in you with your feet on the ground. And just, it's like being the effortless, abundant, matriarchal creator that you are. Or feminine, because it's the Queen, I'm picking up on a femininity, but of course, because it's general readings, it could be you as a very balanced male leader, or a male leader who's definitely balanced, the energies, as it were. I think I'm also just aware that the dominant audience here are women. So, but I love you guys. I know that there's a lot of male representation as well, so I'm not going to exclude anyone. But you're definitely rising your sovereignty, your empowerment around material and physical resources, and there's definitely some underlying thought form that wants to be up-leveled, connected to a pull apart, a compromising your power, your integrity, your energy. I feel like the month of January you're gonna shine it out. You're gonna see it for what it is and die to it, and then by the end of the month, end up sitting pretty in your Queen of Pentacles, juicy ripeness flowing, a lot of awesomeness to share with the world. And it almost feels like you're training other people, like with the other plums in that tree. I feel like you're moving forward, and then from a stance of this Queen of Pentacles, then training other people to be in their Queen of Pentacles, to be in their juicy plum ripeness, to trust, all that stuff. So it's a huge final piece to an up level that I imagine it's been 7 years in the making, or it's a major arcana reading, right? So it's a pretty major up level. And because for me, I'm feeling momentum in this reading. I'm feeling like you've already been doing all of this, and this is just a bit of an energy that's, again, with connected to the past life card. It's so this is why it's maybe one of the final pieces before you really start to sit in the Queen, is that it's well hidden, because it's been the past life card here. What I see, why I'm explaining the well hiddenness, is that this is energy that you've likely carried every lifetime. So it's super duper familiar. It's super real to you, right? Like, what is that, me or is that the other? I don't know, because I've had this my whole fucking life. And this card is to me the symbolism. It's to do with being a fighter. It's to do with and then I mean, fighters typically, if we're in that energy, we are answering to people. And that is part of this weird, the Seven of Cups energy that I'm getting, of this external energy that seems to come in and knock you about. I'm like, this is past life heritage, I'm getting, of being in command or having to work for certain authorities. But what I'm getting is that those authorities aren't there anymore. And so you have to integrate those perceived external authorities into the whole self, and then pluck a new vibration, which is this. So Pisces, this is and that's now this card makes sense. So this is why this Hermit card warrants more inner landscaping, because this is something very intimate to you, an energy that's intimate to you, and then you're really going to have to work with your energy and imagination to invoke these energies. You have to imagine it into being, because this feels like a more dominant energetic from many lives. So well done. Well done. Feel free to comment if that resonated with you. Feel free to book a private reading if it resonated with you. Otherwise, my lovers, Pisces, have a wonderful January. I hope that you've had a great holiday season. I look forward to seeing you guys on the daily updates and or in February. Have a wonderful festive season. I look forward to seeing you guys in 2020. Love you. Peace.